I'm going to do this for your protection.
Yeah, that's
because,
fine.
Thank you.
I'll give you a number. I'm Chief Johnson.
Chief Johnson, pleasure to meet you.
All right, we'll head upstairs. We got a room up there. And I'll conference room.
Hey.
Let's do Mike.
This would be Mike.
That's Mike.
Yeah.
I'm Jeff Creed with the DA's office.
Hey, Jeff, Brian.
Brian?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I ain't lied to you guys. I'm a little disappointed to see you guys. Because I really want to see Nancy. Personally, but I'd rather see Nancy.
We understand.
I'm just going to throw that out there right there.
We understand.
You get it. You get it.
She filled us in all about you. So
She knows all of it. She just knows some of it. So.
We're going to go upstairs. Here you go.
All right, we'll follow.
You guys go ahead.
I've never been up there before, so
I'm going to come up to there. I'm going to go follow with it. Okay.
So take a hard left.
Hard left.
Hard left.
I've been to TD many times, but I've never been up there.
All right. Hey, how are you, sir?
Sorry, Brian Strickland.
Brian is my name, sir. Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's taking a day. Take this right down.
Okay.
Did that go down?
okay, I didn't get your name up there.
I'm Brian Strickland. I'm in charge of investigations for the court.
Oh yeah, okay, I might go down. Right?
Okay, and I'm going to just need to get both y'all's names. Did I get your name?
Brian.
Okay, with a Y or an I?
I.
Okay, last name. Okay, can I get a date of birth?
No, sir. It's not necessary.
We add it to our report. You're a contact person. You're a reporting party.
I need it. I'll give you my license number, then I can...
Okay, all right. You're Brian.
Do you need my PI license number?
That's fine. I just put anybody you have contact with, we just put them down as a report. And your name again, sir? I'm sorry.
Michael Godano. My license is 4030.
And how you spell your last name?
Guadagno. Take my mask off, if you don't mind. Okay, are we done? Let's get down to business. Okay, sir.
Well, as I mentioned, you reached out to me that you wanted to meet with us. I guess you had some information that you wanted to share with us. That's great. You know, these guys, as we mentioned on the phone, are limited about what they can say because obviously it's an ongoing investigation. And while you're a private investigator, you're still a private citizen. So we don't, we're not in the habit of broadcasting what our case is out to the public. And while you have an interest, a client, and we represent the people of the state of North Carolina, the people of the town of Kitty Hawk, so that's what we're going to do. So anything I can do to help you out, I'll be glad to do it. Any information you have, as I mentioned, we're always willing to, if people have information for us to help us in our investigation, our door's always open. We're always willing to talk to anybody who wants to talk to us.
Well, that's refreshing and enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the reason why I reached out to you is because, Chief, you didn't want to talk with me.
I told you I couldn't talk about your investigation.
I told you I was just coming in here as a matter of respect. Say who I am, and I'll be working
And you
here.
said on the first day you would be here, and we never showed up. And then the second day, Nancy called and left a message and said we're coming to see you, and we stayed till 6, and no one showed up.
All right, let me back on that.
Those are only two messages, and I have an email, address. I'm leaving at 4.
I couldn't make it by 4.
Okay. All right.
That's
the
what
next day she called and said we're heading to come see you. Never saw you guys. I waited
We
till 6.
put in a call here, and she said she didn't get a call back.
Correct.
Look, it's a matter of miscommunication in the beginning. I'll tell you it straight to your face.
And then you were offended. Then what would you have to ask me if I said I can't talk about the investigation?
I said I'm coming in here.
And I don't want to interrupt, but we're here about investigating a death case.
Okay.
If you want to have personal attacks, you can do that on your own time.
Yeah.
We're on my time now, and so if you want to talk about this case, let's talk about the case.
You're exactly right.
So we can get back in.
I see why you would be so worked up.
I'm just setting protocol because I'm complimenting you. I'm thanking you to do this. That's what I'm doing. I'm just laying the ground.
Okay.
We're here now, so let's go.
Okay, you personally attacked me, so go ahead.
Okay,
what you got?
So obviously, we've been retained. Okay. Second of all, we have no control, and I was just brought to light of the publicity on social media, which I am not a follower of. I have no concern.
What he's making reference to is the Facebook comments and stuff.
I mentioned that yesterday, and so obviously they think enough about you to pay you money to help them out, and so maybe you have an ear when we don't. And so that was my request: is I know that certain members of that family, no matter what you do or ask of them, they're not going to do it. You know, some of them we know, we've dealt with them before. A lot of the members of the family are the goodest people you ever meet. Mm-hmm. But they're killing us. And it's going to, if I could ever make a case, they're going to make it so it's going to be impossible for me to prosecute this case in Dare County. And so if you have any ability to stop it, I appreciate it. But again, you know, they're like anybody else. They can do what they want to, but it's hard.
And thank you. You know, that's an intelligent way to approach it.
Well, that's what we do. We're professionals, and we're going to do our job.
That's what we want to do.
And they think for some reason, because, you know, unfortunately, Kitty Hawk Police Departments had dealt with multiple members of their family in not good situations. Several of them gone to prison after those interactions. So they just have in their heart that Kitty Hawk Police Department is not going to do their job. And I can assure you that's not the case at all. They're going to do everything they can do to find the truth, and so that's what we're trying to do. And so,
sir, do you realize this is nationwide?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's not the Kitty Hawk Police Department. It's a little tiny little town. It's all over.
Well,
disrespect for police and protesting and everything else.
But I tell you what, one of the good thing about it is it's not as bad in Dare as it is in other places because people here still respect. That's why I'm glad I live here. My son, matter of fact, is a cop in this department, so
good for him.
I'm a big supporter of law enforcement.
Anyway, yes, we've been retained, like you said, and you're right.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking at us for advice and oversee.
Right.
Why do you think that is? Why do you
I have no idea. I have no. Probably because several members, as I said, have been arrested and prosecuted, or arrested by that department and prosecuted by mine. I guess. I don't know.
Chief, obviously, you spoke with one of them last night, correct, in person. I had thought that you had a meeting with someone, a member of the family. Obviously, they're trying to go over your head for some reason. Why, I don't know. I don't listen to the propaganda and the BS about what's going on with people. I look them right in the eye and I tell them what I want to do. I'm not talking about my background at all. That's not the subject here.
Right.
The subject is cooperating with you because I was told to turn to you.
Well, I'm just the chief assistant DA in Dare County. Andy Womble's my boss. He's the DA. We have a 7-county district here that's the whole northeast part of the state. Dare County is one of the counties, and he hired me to run Dare County.
So we did interview, they interviewed here yesterday, who was and I didn't speak to her. That's right, Brian?
Yes.
Good. And I haven't talked to any family members.
Okay. Here's what we'd like to do. We'd like to complement your investigation. We'd like to assist you. We'd like to give you whatever we can get. We're probably looking at the atmosphere of this. We're probably going to get more information than you're going to get, Chief.
Good.
So how
Like
would
I
you
said,
like to go about this? Did Detective Jerry Gard
Jeff Gardford. Jeff.
You can get this from the horse's mouth, from Jerry.
Jeff.
In front of everyone, I said, Detective, you're doing a good job. He turned around, he stopped me, looked at me, he says, thank you, I really appreciate that.
Just
you know,
good.
I didn't care who was standing around me.
Right.
Okay, because I believe in his integrity.
Yeah.
I believe in the medical examiner. It's as far as I went. Now I tried to reach out to you, and now we have you. So take the lead. We'll do what we want. I've got to ask you, would you, I know it's protocol and under the law here and everything else. When we cooperate with you, can we be assigned to one person, or you assign us to one person, Chief, or DA, do you assign us, or do we work with you?
However you want to do it.
Right.
Yeah, the thing is too, and Social Strickland can contribute, is the medical examiner. From what we're feeling, there's a DA investigator too, named John Young. We won't bring him in the picture, but he's the one that will get all the medical records. He's saying 4 months.
Yeah, he said 3 to me too over there. But then they're going to go
we're
into
going to
that.
have to listen to this for 4 months of the family berating us for no reason. And do y'all know, and I'm not going to tell you, but do y'all know any history about the deceased? Any history?
No. We welcome any that you would like to
I'm
share.
just saying, okay, I just want to know. I mean, it's just, if y'all could do your homework on her.
And it's not really stuff that's involved in the case. So if you got some history, Chief, share it. Because he grew up in this county. I did not put wrong.
And I've known the family all my life, and we've always had a good. Their service station works on our cars, and we spend $50,000 a year there. We've had a great relationship. There's no bad history with them, other than us putting her father in prison. How long ago?
This was right when I got started. It is public record.
Yeah.
And then public record as well. I dealt with his son. He went on a drug-induced melee, as you say, one night and did about a couple $100,000 damage in town, including stealing 2 trucks. He went to prison for 5 years.
Okay.
So there's a history there saying that.
Right.
And we've arrested the deceased as well for fighting and domestics and
how many
things of that nature.
How many years ago were the felony?
Those were his fathers were in the 90s, the mid 90s, and then the son would have been the last time before I come and take over investigations would have been in the probably mid 2000s, somewhere around in there. I mean, just to give you a background.
It's good background, but something. Whenever I get to,
and it doesn't affect our part in any way, shape, or form.
It puts a thought in your mind, but the attorneys I deal with.
And I'm not representing him. I'm representing the possible victim. That's who I'm. That's what we're doing.
It's sad, and and there's nothing that
I appreciate that.
They don't hate us, but we've never had any issues with them. And I think the issue is one person.
And a lot of the people on social media that are saying stuff, we don't even know. We don't know them. I mean, we don't know their relation to the family. We don't know,
See, the thing is I want to just let you know I'm not a threat. Just look at me as a helper. I probably invested in 1 year I investigated more homicides than you had in 30 years. We just looked up the record of the homicides.
We've never had this, and I've been here almost 30 years, and he hasn't. We were talking to and I've talked to other chiefs, and they said, this is
we've
weird.
Never had a parallel investigation running down here.
We don't. Yeah, I know it's happening.
You know something? The thing of it is, let's get together and have a good. Just stick together and have a good resolution at the end of this, and keep the time.
No, I don't have any evidence. And at some point, when we're getting close to the end, or we feel like a real good picture of where this is going to go, then at that point I'm gonna have a meeting with the family. Obviously, I would like for you to come if you want to. You obviously don't have to be there, but then I'll be the one explaining to them when we're making decisions on what we're going to do. So
if they had reiterated that they wanted me to see it through.
Yeah.
Okay, and
that's why I reached out to Nancy. I didn't know if y'all been retained for limited purposes, just all autopsy, or seeing it all the way through. And she let me know that y'all were in for the duration. That's great.
I down a little bit, and
it was strange.
Their job is to find the truth.
That's right.
And I circled that when you said that. How do you feel that we can work together to find the truth?
Yeah.
This was one of our agenda questions.
Okay. See, that's going to be one of the problems is because I'm not doing this as long as y'all have, but I've been doing it a long time in some major metropolitan areas. So I've seen about every damn thing you can do to another person, and and I always I've had to deal with victims' families for years, and I've had them hug me and kiss me. I've had them cuss me like a dog. That's part of what we do, and I always tell the people in my office that struggle with that. It's like, well, we're the only ones that listen, so that's what we need to do. So they have, what my problem I have is they have this idea of what justice for LeeAnn is going to be. Well, that's their definition of justice. Mine might be a little different, and so at some point there's going to be
I'd be glad to sit in. I'll be glad to help you out, whatever it takes. I'll be out.
Like I said, they thought enough of you to hire you, so obviously they hire you. Man, I don't know these folks at all. I know them by name. I know of some of them, but I've never met any of them. So,
but you feel comfortable with our firm acting as basically a liaison.
Sure. If that's what we need to do, that's what they're comfortable with. One of the things I try to do with victims' family is not victimize them anymore. So if I can anything that makes them feel better, about the situation, I'm all for it. Anything that gets us to what we need to be, I'm all for it.
Okay.
This has given them some ease hiring us and coordinating back and forth with us talking back and forth on it.
Right.
They have given us a lot of leads, which is going to snowball your investigation like you wouldn't believe. You don't have enough men. These people are a wealth of information.
And
The important one
we'll track
It's
down.
got to be sifted.
Yeah. We'll track down every one of them. And obviously, there's only two people in this whole world that know the truth. It's the deceased and the person that was in the room. So it's just
What we will do with the family is their goal, of course, is to keep this death in the public eye and keep the interest on it so that the next headline doesn't take her place and it's forgotten. That's their goal, to keep it. But there is a tactful way that they can do it.
Right.
What our goal will be is to try to quelch some of the personal attacks,
right.
And tell them if it truly want justice, that it's going to come by keeping her memory alive, but it's not going to do any good to try to tear down individuals in the process.
No, it's too late for that.
Well,
It's too
but
late for that.
I understand that they have they've just went beyond for you. I understand.
Well, there's one, and the mother and Tricia, it's too late for that.
Well, I understand that, but I want
you won't even solve that.
Well, and again, there's only so much that we can do, but this is your case.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Kitty Hawk Police Department's case to present.
I'm speaking for the department.
Right.
I'm not speaking. You were NYPD, right?
my background's on the internet.
Or somewhere. Yeah. So that's fine. That's fine. I know you were. I've talked to somebody. So it's fine with that. And if they attack your men at your precinct or in your section or your division,
well, you got 52,000 of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you take it personal, and I'm mad for my men.
Right.
See,
I'm mad for my men, and I'm not holding a grudge. I don't hold a grudge.
Yeah.
But we want to find out the truth so we can put it out there. And when we put it out there, they just got to stop.
Right.
It's insane.
But
I'm saying something to my kids.
I understand.
I can't even go on DMV, and Manny, the woman, said something to me.
right.
For
My
no
daughter came home from
reason.
work, and they talked to my daughter.
And I know y'all can't control that.
So that we understand the structure, which is very important. This is Kitty Hawk Police Department's case to present to the evidence to the DA and for the DA to make a decision.
Absolutely. You need to contact me unless you I'm not in charge of investigations.
Understand.
I oversee it. So
Yes, sir.
I have a couple things I'd like to add.
Go ahead.
We would like at some point next week, I'd like to interview Miss Fletcher, Marianne Fletcher. I'd also like to interview Miss Cahoon, Tricia Cahoon.
All right, give me a chance.
Oh, no problem.
I'll help you out with all of them. I'll try to arrange everything.
And I was going to call them. I got their number. I was just going to call them and say, hey, the reason I want to is because stuff has been placed on social media. If they have any new information, and also too, we would like to get her phone. We don't have her phone. I believe that there was something posted on social media, and also Miss Fletcher called up here at one point and told Detective Guard, well, we showed up with her phone and you wouldn't take it. She never showed up with the phone. From what we gathered, the phone was actually at the hospital. We were told this after she had passed away, was at the hospital, because we would really like to take the phone and go do an extraction of it. Because we were told that the family had tried repeatedly. We don't know if it's an iPhone or if it's iOS or it's Android based. But the county has along with the SBI has the extraction tools that they can do to extract it. We don't know if there's anything of evidentiary value on the phone. So if there is, we'd like to get a hold of it. But from what we were told, Miss Fletcher has the phone, but they tried all sorts of combinations or something. She was telling Detective Guard this, and they just could not get in the phone. And he said, well, if you'll bring us the phone, we can send it off to the lab to be analyzed, and maybe they can get into it, unless it's an Apple, which, it's maybe FBI even had a hard time getting an Apple. But,
anyway,
but that would be great if we could get the phone to be able to see if there's anything on there.
Let me just make a note. So Marianne Fletcher, and who's the other person you want?
Tricia Cahoon.
Tricia.
She is, from what I gather, she is related to the grandmother who passed away about a month or so ago, Miss Cito.
Gotcha.
Miss Cito's maiden name was Cahoon, and she is related to their.
Hey, you can spell that name.
Cahoon?
Cahoon.
Oh, Cahoon.
And supposedly she's a nurse, or she said
she is.
Says she is.
She did work for our EMS years ago.
Okay.
But I know she was at the hospital for the duration, and from what I gather, she's very intimately involved in it. She was intimately involved in the walk that they had. And she's put some stuff on social media, and then some people on social media have quoted her with information, and we're like, well. So my biggest thing is just if she has anything that can help us, I'd love to sit down with her and say, hey, what is that? If you got stuff that'll help us, or a lead, or whatever it is, or if they want to go through you,
That's the problem.
they want to go through you, that's fine.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I can say right now, it might change by the time you get there. Right now, they want to go through me. And
That's fine.
I don't understand that. So
Well, no, that's fine.
That's true.
I'm not from around here. And I don't know
I
what
get it.
things are going down here, and I don't really care. It's what I would do is get two people together, and here I am overseeing it. So you give that to him, and then I oversee it. Okay, everybody happy? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Well, and I will say
in
it
the middle.
is kind of strange because, like I said, I've been here going on my 27th year.
God bless
Most
you.
of my career has been here. And then we've seen changes and everything, but we get people from all over the world that come down here, and bad things happen to them, and we cooperate with the family, and the families have been, whether it's a drowning or a suicide or whatever it is. But these folks live here, and we are a very open department. I mean, you can look at us in the media, we don't have any problems. So to this, I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's. Like we're willing to cooperate.
That's good.
So I don't know.
I'm not even going to tell you what the other side.
But if they want to work, that's fine.
And when we've talked to Tricia on the phone and Marianne, everybody's been cordial. But then this Tricia puts when she's talking to Marianne, and Tricia's putting stuff on social media that you guys are talking to Marianne about. So that's why you need to have a talk with them. That you tried to contact me twice in bold print, and that I would refused and denied y'all's meeting and all this other thing on social media. So
sure.
Yeah, and I know it's okay. You can't
Try to
control that.
contact you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did, but you never
not right.
control. But that's okay.
Yeah.
But you can't control that. But so listen, I'm moving
But
past that. And
what we can control is today forward, and that's our goal.
That's
I'm
why
glad we got to talk. So
glad we had a talk.
Okay, so the moral of this meeting is you are going to oversee this, and you're going to collaborate back and forth.
And that's what I initially said, but Sergeant Strickland said he'd be willing.
Yeah.
I'm happy. You got my email address and my cell phone.
Right.
There.
So,
I
if I understand this, and I think that what would be the best is any hard evidence and information goes to you, and information goes to you. But it's got to come through the police department because it's the police department's case. Do you have your own independent investigator? Do you have your own independent investigator?
No, we have one, and
You guys didn't get a grant?
No, we don't.
Listen, here's how it's going to run, okay? This is my company, and this is how I want to run it. I will cooperate with you both.
Okay.
I will send you both an email to let you know what's going on with this man.
Okay.
And I will give our evidence to you, so you're in the light of it. And
if it's not me, it would be Jeff Gard, who you met at the Emmys office.
Yeah,
He's the only other. Well, we have a narcotics investigator that can help us out, but he's pretty much the only other person that
all
we
right, let's
have.
just keep it simple. I'm going to two emails
one person.
to you two, and that's it. I'm done. All right, I'm happy with that. So it'll be very closely. I'm going to give you some evidence. Okay? How do I do that?
You can just bring it by here, or
okay.
I mean, we're here. I'm usually here. I'll probably be leaving a little early today, but I'm usually here. I'm here 8 in the morning until usually 6 in the evening.
Great.
And obviously, when you've already got it, then it's already done. Obviously, when I have evidence, I like to limit my chain of custody as much as I can. So when it's possible, I will look for y'all not to collect it. Let the police department collect it, because then I don't have to. I can call one person to get in evidence instead of 3 or 4. So just
That's good. I already have a chain of custody on evidence that I would like you to sign, and I'll give you some evidence. And the reason why I picked up the evidence is because the police overlooked it. Okay, and I picked it up. So they are going to start cleaning that house. The house is not sealed up. I said, wait a minute, before you start cleaning this house, let me look through it. Mm-hmm. And I said, did the police look through this real good? And they said, yes, they did. Sure, yes, okay, we'll start looking at the place and ourselves and start mapping it out. Mm-hmm. And we found a blood-soaked blouse saturated with blood that this lady was wearing, which was right underneath the edge of the bed. I said, this is important. Let me have this. They said, what did the police collect? Well, I know they collected a fitted sheet and a comforter and pillowcase or whatever else. And I said, did they see this? And
yeah, I know Jeff talked about it because I remember he said, I thought he collected the
there were several items that he collected, and I wasn't there for it.
Of course, as we all know from the autopsy, there was no blunt force trauma on her body. The only bleeding source was from her anus, from the health issues she had. So, as long as we're all, I mean, I'm glad you collected whatever you got, but you know, it's not from a blow to the head.
I thought it's better if we picked it up than her burying it.
That's sure.
So I thought I'd be covered.
Okay.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get that to you. Not a problem.
Another thing we don't have to determine is who at what point said this was an assault and a broken jaw. We got a call here from the Marion that said she had a broken jaw and she was assaulted. So at what point
I never heard that.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure this assault out. I don't, and this is why this whole domestic violence.
Well, I mean, I think there were, of course, the news media promoted it as an assault.
We've got an email that they sent to the SBI that says that it was an assault.
Yeah.
So that's where it precipitated from. And I'm not sure how that. I
just read what was in the press for about 4 days ago.
We don't have much press, but we got.
I just wish it was an EMS call on our part. Of an intoxicated 38-year-old female in the bathtub. Possibly. This is why we threw our guard up, because all these lies and this hate and discontent.
Social media is for kids.
Yeah. And the problem too is that we don't want the family to get the impression, where you were talking about snowballing things, this is maybe where it snowballed, that somebody told the family, hey, they were just there the other night, and they just didn't do anything, and they left had this not happened. And of course it went from there, and I think we searched our record, and the last time we were there was
June
in
2019, right?
Well, for dealing with her, but in a general call for service, there was a suspicious condition. But it was at very late at night. But we ended up. I think she had called in March, but it was the Sprint telephone guy.
This is what we learned about
the
on the way down
something, doing something,
and professionally,
the fire officer went up there. Prior to that March one, we had not been there since I think last summer, and I think that was a general law call too. Then prior to that, we had called up there, public record, that she had gotten in a fight with another female.
Okay.
And we ended up actually arresting both of them.
She bit her in the neck.
She bit her.
Probably deserved it.
We can provide you those. That's public record.
No, I got his email.
Did you get
I got cards, but I never.
I'll get on the
Can
way.
I have one of your business cards?
I've got them downstairs. We walk out. They're in a little holder.
Hey, look, I'm done. If there's any other questions, I think we said a thing here, and I'm happy, and I'm done, and thank you.
Thank you for your time.